I could very easily imagine somebody doing a Kickstarter to make something to integrate into VR. And that would
Mm.
make that process considerably easier. And you don't have to like attach a controller to your leg then.
Yeah, definitely. So that's me. Basically, just haven't launched the page yet.
Oh,
You can get these cadence sensors off of Amazon. This is McGann. There's a bunch of different ones. They're about $16 now.
mhm,
So they've come down in price like really, really significantly. COVID has actually been a massive game changer for all of this stuff.
mm,
Like your Pelotons and your there's Fit Track and a bunch of other
mm,
companies now. They all went absolutely hardcore during COVID, getting as many spin bikes out as possible,
mm, mm,
because people were leaving the gyms, people were stuck at home, people were trying to do all this stuff. Nordic Track is the other one, sorry,
mm,
and they're selling these big, expensive exercise bikes with your with screens on them, and they have these
mm,
like online courses and subscriptions and stuff. And then what we're starting to see is that so many people got all set up, did all this stuff at home, and like any big insta buy, you know purchase
That's collecting
during
dust.
those times, it starts to gather dust, it starts to take up space in your garage or whatever. You realize it's losing value, people start selling them,
Mhm,
or gyms are shutting down or all of that kind of thing. So people keep going like, oh yeah, I don't have a bike. And then I'll just quickly scroll through Marketplace and you'll see that there are so many bikes for so cheap now.
mhm,
Even brand new, like you can get a pretty decent quality spin bike for like $150 from Bunnings and
mhm,
things like that, because like the wheels started turning, right? Like people started building these things
mhm,
en masse. Now there's stock left over. So it actually did become like way less cost prohibitive than people thought.
mhm,
And like legitimately, because we've been looking at this stuff, like I've picked up gym quality bikes for free
mhm.
off of people because they just got to get them out of their house, and we just chucked it in the boot of our car. So it's yeah, like the scene has changed quite a bit since I've
Mhm,
been doing this. And you can get these things really cheap. There are a few apps out there now on VR as well where
mhm,
you can Bluetooth that cadence sensor, attach it to the pedal of your bike,
mm,
and you can do like you can do little tours around like downtown
mm, mm,
Paris, things like that. You can ride through these environments, whether they be VR or like a street view kind of experience.
mhm,
It being street view though, it's like it's not that high fidelity. Like it is cool that it's a real place and it's a real distance, and these
mm,
are like real metrics and stats that you can have. So that's cool in a way. But again, like it is just pedaling.
mm,
And you can do some other exercises and things like that, very Ring Fit style to play these games, and they are very fitness based.
mhm,
And yeah, like and and the same thing, like you got your hardcore racing driver gamers, you've got your hardcore cyclist people as well. So there's a
mhm,
platform called Zwift, and you can like straight up do the Tour de France with other people, multiplayer. People hook up all their Garmin sensors and everything to it,
mm,
heart
mm,
rate, cadence, all of their all of these types of crazy data things that they do, and they cycle at home and they do all this stuff. And it is very hardcore and it's very full on.
mhm,
But again, like because I'm not a cyclist, because I'm not into that scene, it's not as engaging to me as just a video game would
mhm,
be, right? And like, I mean, we all kind of grew up playing Need for Speed or
mm,
Burnout and all those types of games. I'm like, well, if I can bring that casual racing experience to VR, to the exercise bike, and do these kind of short, really high energy things, then like not only are you gonna have like this rush and like this feeling of like of this kind of really rebellious kind of act, and it's gonna get your heart rate up and you're gonna get workout, but also I can really shorten how much workout you really need to do, right? It's
mm,
almost that kind of high intensity interval training that people do, like there's a business called F45, which is basically like, all right, you can get your entire gym workout done in 45 minutes if we just
mm,
do these like stations. You just go 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 for 45 minutes and then stop and rest, and you do that maybe once twice a week or whatever.
mhm,
And there is real research into seeing that you can get a significant amount of benefit out of a short amount of exercise so long as it's regular.
mhm, mhm,
And so yeah, I'm trying to kind of harness that and weaponize it as like, there's mobile games that hit you up all the time and they're like, yeah, hit your streak, do your weekly bonus, here's you this, here's the challenge, here's this, like
mhm,
constantly getting these little notifications. Well, I thought if I can just do that But as a game and as something that is short, that is sweet, that you're just going to do it. Eventually that'll start to become a habit, and you'll start to itch for it eventually, right? But again, I just personally, none of that stuff has worked for me. None of that fitness branded stuff has ever captured me. I've never been able to stick to a gym membership or afford one. I've never been able to stick to regular exercise if it's not some kind of social sport where, you know, you've got people saying, oh, you're coming this Saturday or whatever. And you've got those other kind of social influences that are getting you off your ass to do it. And, you know, it's probably an ADHD thing. It's probably that kind of thing where it's not in my routine. It's not in the front of mind, right?
Sure, but if you get it into your routine, if you manage to get it in there, then it's like, it's stuck in there.
Yeah, but if it's a video game or something like that, where I'm seeing that high score, I'm seeing that skill level and that mastery, like that's why we play these games, right? So I thought if I can combine those two powers, didn't want to go fitness branding, even though I probably could have made way more money doing it that way, get some investor on board and do it that way. Really wanted it to be a video game first, get the benefit and the experience out of it second. And if I can create enough content to keep you coming back and start getting these incentives in place, start a bit of a community on Discord, then yeah, we might be able to get that movement happening. And realistically, I think it is gamers that need this push more than anyone else, right? We need an experience, we need something to sort of get us off the couch. Just that little bit, right? I felt like I could just make something that gives you that little bit of push, just that little bit of an experience, but I can give you something that you can't get anywhere else, right? One of my pet peeves when VR was really starting out, and you've got your Google Cardboard, and you got these like mobile VR experiences
I forgot about that one.
They were so bad, really, really lo-fi VR experiences. The worst thing was that so many of the apps were roller coasters. And people were like, oh, cool, it's like a roller coaster in VR. And they just violently made people sick. It's probably the worst thing you can do in VR.
That was my first VR experience. DevKit 2.
Exactly. And
Oculus DevKit 2.
And we're still hungover from that. Like, there is still this industry-wide hangover of people going, oh, I've tried VR, I didn't like it. And I said, you haven't tried my VR. And so we actually did the first South by Southwest Sydney event. Big tech space, big expo area. We were right next to like Amazon, AWS, like Telstra, like all of these like telcos and internet people. Intel had like a human-sized drone and all this stuff there. It's insane. And in the little corner there was this like VR tech area. And they're calling it XR, and it was sort of like half 360 film festival kind of feel, like VR and VR, XR, AR. They're still trying to work out what they are. They don't know what they are yet. And at that stage, there was a lot of just like kind of artsy film experiences. And we were right at the entrance of the XR showcase area. And at first I'm like, oh, like, cause we weren't in the gaming, like the indie game area. So we weren't just getting indie people, we were getting tech people, we were getting just people from all over, like South by Southwest Sydney is a music, film, tech event. And they had like indie showcase area as well. So we were getting people from all walks of life coming through and checking it out. And at first I was like, oh, look, if you've never done VR before, maybe go check something else out first, because I don't want to kind of, I don't want you to have a bad taste in your mouth or a bad experience or anything like that. But pretty quickly, people were having seated experiences and were coming back and saying, actually, that made me a bit sick or whatever, because it is that dissonance between your visual spectrum seeing motion and your body and your inner ear saying, oh, I'm not moving though. And you do get that kind of car sick, seasick kind of experience if you're not used to it. And if it just takes a little while for you to try to separate that in your brain, because it is a new technology, right? And then pretty quickly, I actually flipped my strategy and went, actually, guys, if you've never done VR before, come do this first, because I have accidentally hacked the system a little bit. You being on an exercise bike, hanging on, being solid, like you have contact with the ground while you're playing, and your legs are moving, once you start moving in the game, your body remembers what it's like to ride a bike. Doesn't matter how long ago you've ever ridden a bike before. And your body just goes straight into bike mode, right? And people don't get motion sickness. And funnily enough, like I slowly started turning the intensity up on the game as I've been demoing it. And by the time we got to South by Southwest Sydney, I had jumps, I had dips, and I had some turns and stuff in the game so that you could fall off the track. And if you fell off the track, you would fall and then you would respawn back up and you would drop back in. And I accidentally did achieve the VR roller coaster experience, which isn't something I intended to do, but because of the bike and because of that physical contact you have to this device, it sells everything else, and your entire body is engaged. You're in there, and we actually just at AvCon the other week. I'm not sure if you heard. You might have heard, but we had this woman come on, and she was screaming. And she couldn't believe it. And she was having a roller coaster experience in VR on an exercise bike that I picked up off the street, which is just kind of
I was
insane.
going to say, the bike you have, it's falling apart.
It is, yes. It's had so what we'd be at nearly 3,000 people who have demoed my game at these events over the last like few years now. And it's a little bit of a compromise. Like I have lots of different spin bikes now. But that one in particular is it's light, which means it's easy to carry in and out of venues.
Sure.
It's black and red. It looks cool. We've added some cool LED lights and stuff to it. But yeah, it's seen better days. That was actually its last hurrah. We've retired that bike now. The other issue is that because we get so many different people coming in and trying, you would have seen that we had an exercise bike style bike, like a small one for kids. And then we had a spin bike style one for the more adults and things like that. So spin bikes, the pedals are hard attached to the flywheel.
Right.
And once the flywheel starts moving, the pedals will keep moving whether your feet are on them or not. So I could have brought in a much more sturdier, much more heavier bike.
Right.
But then there's just way more weight behind those pedals.
Yeah.
So I've got a 5 kilo wheel here, which is awesome. And if you know it, if you've done spin class before or anything like that, you get used to it and you're in it. And that wheel does help you keep moving, right? Like it builds up momentum and then it helps you maintain that, and you can kind of ease off your energy a little bit and maintain that movement. Whereas an exercise bike, if you stop, it stops.
Yeah.
It's just a magnetic or a mechanical resistance. So we use the exercise bikes for the kids and we use the spin bikes for the adults. Spin bike just looks cooler and just attracts more people just because I've put flashing lights on the wheel and things like that. It's just a lot more of a cool experience. But I was hesitant to bring one of my bigger bikes because of the weight of the wheel. And a lot of people aren't used to that. And and the problem is the game is actually too engaging, right? Like I keep telling people, don't pedal fast because you're going to build up speed in the game. That's an intentional design aspect of it where I sort of just want to get you into like a Zen zone kind of state, almost like the Tetris effect. And then the game then becomes, I'm looking at where I'm going to dodge next. I'm looking at where my next path is. And you actually completely forget about everything below the waist. And you just forget that you're pedaling at all, right? And the music is dynamic. So the faster you go, the better the music gets. So all of those things is there to kind of distract you from the game. But that also means that people get so engaged in the game, they want to go fast straight away because they've seen someone else play, that they get a bit carried away and then their feet slip off and it turns into a whole thing. But yeah, you can go as hard as you like at home. It was just like, this is kind of my safe expo experience. But yeah, so there's different ways that you can go about it with the different bikes and stuff. That's sort of my compromise, is that it was, yeah, but that bike is retired. It's getting real squeaky now. And yeah, but it's super, super fun. And like I said, I kind of accidentally achieved that roller coaster experience in VR that no one else has actually managed to pull off yet without really expensive equipment.